Hey, this is Buff Bagwell, and you're watching the Card Subject Change podcast. Check it out.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Bull.
Hello, one and all, and welcome back to another exciting edition of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan for the fan. So gracious and happy that you're here with us, whether you're listening live, watching live on YouTube, or if you download us later. We love it. We're glad you're here. Welcome to our little corner of the wrestling world. I say our because I'm joined by my tag team partner. I'm Never Wrong Nick Bull. Before I bring in my tag team partner, let you know we are live and in living color on the mothership, the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. Of course, we are powered here at Card Subject to Change by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Want to thank those guys so much for all that they've done, not only for our show, but also for the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. I'm Never Wrong Nick Bull. My tag team partner, we are the reigning, defending, probably forever, For Frequency's Sake podcast tag team champions of the network. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, how are you doing, bud?
Man, I am feeling good. I want to give a shout out. You mentioned the For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network. Yesterday we did our Toys for Tots shopping. I know you were there for part of the shopping. You were not there when we dropped the toys off. We filled, I believe, 7 boxes for Toys for Tots.
Really? Okay.
Boxes about yay high. They're pretty big boxes, and we filled quite a few.
Wow.
I believe I'd have to check with the tribal chief, but I believe it was close to $4,000 that was raised this year.
Most excellent.
So,
And for
love being a part of that cause, and was happy to be out shopping. Definitely got my steps in and my exercise in yesterday. I had a good day there. So, but no, we've got another guest today. We've got our last guest of 2025, Nick, because the next 2 weeks we're doing specialty shows that we'll talk about in a little bit. But I'm going to bring in our guest. I have met him a couple times in Waterloo at Absolute Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Jason Prentice and Brandon the Shank Eubanks, the boys at APW. But we are going to get to know this gentleman. He is Jaxon Slater. Jaxon, welcome to Card Subject to Change. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
Doing pretty good. Glad to have you on board.
I'm glad to be here.
Jaxon, glad to have you here. Card Subject to Change podcast. I ask every first guest the same question. I'm going to ask you, why pro wrestling? Why pro wrestling? What was it about it that triggered it for you? Your love for it.
I don't know what it was exactly, but I do remember my first, the first match I remember seeing and watching or catching glimpses of was, I believe, Chris Jericho versus John Cena on some random Raw. I believe it was in December. Funny enough, this month, I just big Cena guy. So I watched when I was watching the match as a kid. It's a real life kind of the good guy overcoming all the bad things in life. It's a real life interpretation of that to me, and that's what wrestling is. it is a real, for lack of a better term, real life drama. You can put yourself in the shoes of a lot of people in the wrestling world because it's so vast and different for everybody.
That's very true. What you talk about John Cena. Obviously, he's got to be a big influence for you. What was the deciding factor that you said, I have to be a part of this? I have to get into this business.
Well, I mean, as a kid, whenever someone sees wrestling or they really love it, I want to do that one day, and then it became a thing of a bunch of people kind of like in a nicer way saying, well, that's unrealistic. You should probably pick something else to do, with your life and your time. And it became a thing of like, I'm not going to let people tell me what I should be doing with my time or what I should be doing with my life. This is what I want to do. And now I'm going to go out and I'm going to, do what I can to make it happen.
I not to date us, but I think we're considerably older than you. And I love having younger guests because you come on and say, hey, John Cena was a big influence for you. And I think he is a lot for the younger generation. I mean, he was well after, we were, through that time and age and stuff. We were well into our 20s when John Cena came around. But regardless, I understand what you meant. I'll ask you now, how do you feel about how WWE has treated his retirement tour, and what would you have done differently?
I'm not opposed to anything that they've done. Obviously, I think they would go about some things differently the way things turned out. I think that they probably had more consistent plans or, plans that fell through that could have made it a bigger deal than it already is. But I have full trust in John Cena himself and everybody that runs the company and runs WWE itself in treating it the way that it's been treated, which is a big deal. It is something that I heard. I think it was either SmackDown or Raw the other day, where they compared it to the Undertaker streak and Brock Lesnar, and it is something that big of a deal. So the person that wrestles him last, or either beats him last, or loses to him last, that makes them somebody if they're not already somebody.
And that being Gunther, he's had a pretty big run over the last couple of years with the Intercontinental moving up into the World Heavyweight Championship title picture, and he retired Goldberg. So I've been saying this for months. I think this could turn into a thing for Gunther. He retired Goldberg. He retires Cena. Next year, AJ Styles is on his way out, so let him retire AJ. Kind of
Jericho when he comes over.
Yeah. Maybe CM Punk, who's been teasing retirement for a little bit recently. Kind of a throwback to Randy Orton's Legend Killer gimmick.
Right.
Do you what is your thought? Do you think that Cena should go out on top or Gunther should beat him?
I think whoever would wrestle John Cena, obviously we know it's Gunther now, but whoever it would be, I would think that they would beat Cena in his final match. I don't think there's anything wrong with Cena winning his final match. I know me personally, if I was in that position, I wouldn't mind either or, because either way, you're John Cena's last match, and it's going to be good. People are going to watch it, and that's what you're going to be. It doesn't matter whether you win or lose. At the end of the day, people talking about you in the future are going to say that was John Cena's final match. Realistically, he's probably going to win. So from now on, you can say he retired Cena, he retired Goldberg, assuming he wins. And then whoever else they end up pushing him to wrestle in their last match, and he's a safe pick. That's the thing about Gunther. He is a very safe pick to have these matches with, because as far as I know, he's never done anything, for lack of a better term, dumb. So he's a safe person that the company can count on in the future with this title, basically.
I'm a big Gunther fan, and I'll say this unapologetically. Like, He's in his later 30s, I think. He's not. I don't think he's 40 yet. I think he's in his later 30s. They've got him locked up for a good amount of time, so they want to give it to a guy who's takes the business seriously. It lives the business, much like Cena did. Whether he's a heel or a face does not matter. So I think it's a logical pick. Now, I want to throw something out because there's a lot of wild fan theories out there, and I wanted to ask both you guys this. That's why I didn't say anything to CZ about this even before the show. I saw something today. Gunther retires Cena. Cena's doing his, farewell to the crowd. And The Rock's music hits. And he says that he has John's soul now. He now controls John's soul. And then John has his final match at Mania 42. How upset would you be as a fan? I think I'd be really pissed off if I spent a lot of money to see him on his final tour. But me personally, I would love to see it.
I saw something about that earlier too. I didn't really read into it too much, but what is their record? I know they had the 2 WrestleMania matches. Are they even? Has there been a rubber match?
They split. Yeah, they never did have a rubber match.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I'd be upset by it, but if they're hyping up this Saturday night's main event as his last match, and like you said, if I'm paying money to be in that arena for his last match, and they throw another one out at WrestleMania, I'd be a little pissed off.
But the match against John Cena is for his soul. It's not just a match; it's for his life. It's for his soul.
Oh, Jackson, what do you think?
I would say it's not needed. I agree. If you do
I'm not saying it is needed. I'm just saying if it happened, I wouldn't complain.
Right. I would like to say that at the end of the day, there would be people that complain, but you're getting John Cena versus The Rock for a third time, and it makes money. So at the end of the day, it's good. It's a good thing. I think that it would kind of waste his entire retirement tour because it goes against everything that he said. How he wants to, this is definite. He doesn't want to drag it. He doesn't want to become a parody. This is the final thing for him to do, and for him to have another match after that would tarnish his word. I think more than anything. I don't think anyone would complain about another John Cena versus Rock match, but I think it would just tarnish his word. It's similar to Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels stayed retired, and everyone respected his word. And then he came back for a match, and everyone was like, "Oh, well, he didn't stay retired, so now his word's a little less."
I get what you're saying. And yeah, it probably is his last match. I just think there's some wild stuff out there, and that one really caught my attention. And I know I would be probably in the minority. I mean, you're right. It's wrestling. Fans are always going to complain about something, but I mean, to me, it wouldn't matter. I would watch the match, and WrestleMania is kind of starting to shape up before our eyes. But that's neither here nor there. We got Jaxon Slater here, first time guest in the studio. CZ has talked about his association with Absolute Pro Wrestling. I want to talk about how you got started into, when you made that decision of wanting to be wrestling, your training and stuff. Take us down that road.
Well, as a kid in high school, which is only, it feels like a lot longer than it actually is, but it's only 6 years ago. I knew the route to take to become a wrestler. Get started at a school, train at a school, graduate the school, and then kind of make your own rounds around the world or around the United States. But it didn't hit me until after I graduated that I don't know where to go. I didn't know that there was a school in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, which is 40 minutes away from where I live, until after I graduated, which was run by Eugene Nick Dinsmore. And I got started there the day after my 19th birthday, and I trained with him until I believe until 2023. 2023, I think, was the end of his kind of training days, and I trained with him for 2 years.
What was that like? I mean, he's a pretty well-known wrestler, being Eugene, being Eric Bischoff's nephew.
Right.
What was it like training under someone who has been in the big leagues?
It was unexpectedly surprising. It was never a dull moment with it being Eugene. I mean, I had a blast, and I only have positive things to say about that man. It was not only extremely informative. I think I could stand on a hill of saying he's one of the best legit pro wrestlers to ever do it. So I think very highly of him, and he did very good by me, and I believe training me very well and putting time and effort into me to become the person I am today with what I do today.
Absolutely. And kind of talk about that transition. So you trained with Nick Dinsmore. What was that first match experience like for you? Talk about the nervousness, and just the overall experience walking into that arena for the first time for an actual match?
So my first match was closer to where I went to school at than Sioux Falls itself, roughly about 10 minutes away from where I went to school. So my first match was in front of probably 100 to 150 people in an outdoor venue, at which I knew probably 110 of those 150 people. So it was a bunch of people that I grew up with and was around. I was extremely frightened because I knew if I made a mistake, it would be for lack of a better term, I would be laughed at. And I would all the people that told me that I shouldn't do this or I would waste my time with it would be justified. They would feel justified in what they said earlier in my life. So I knew that going into it, I cannot mess up. I didn't do much in it, but what I did do, people reacted to, and I'm a big believer in less is more. So I only did a couple things and got the loudest reaction of the night because I brought in 100 people, 110 people, whatever it was. So
would you say the nerves were a little higher going into a crowd of 100 plus people that you knew?
yes, because at the end of the day, if I'm in a crowd of people that I don't really know, they have really no way of contacting me other than through my page or whatever it may be. But if it's a bunch of people I know, or friends and family, and I mess something up, I'll hear about it every Thanksgiving. I'll hear about it every Christmas. Oh, you remember that first show where you slipped and fell? And you look like a dummy? You'll hear about it for the rest of your time. So it's very, I would say it's more nerve-wracking when you bring people to a show to watch you, to perform for them. Because if you mess up, it's possible you wasted their time.
Oh, that's understandable. Now, was this what promotion was this that you first had your match? I know you're big in, and please forgive me if I get this wrong because I'm only recently familiar with this promotion. Was it New Sound Wrestling?
No. So the way that it has worked since I've been a wrestler is I started in a promotion called Midwest All Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
That was ran by Eugene. He then, a couple years after I started, sold the promotion, which then became a promotion called Flagship Pro Wrestling. That promotion ran for about a year or two. Then that was sold. And then I believe it's a little over a year now that New Sound Pro Wrestling has been a promotion.
Okay. And I've seen a little bit of their work. I'm getting more familiar with them. I like what they present. And you have connections not only with New Sound but with APW in a rivalry that you've had going on with one Alvin Falcone. Talk about your matches with Alvin and how that came about, what that rivalry has been like for you.
Well, first off, I believe my record against him is probably like 15-2. I'm coming out the victor of that, so he can win all the champions he wants. But I hold that record over him. No, he started I think 2 months before I did. But there was a time in training where it would just be me and him showing up to training. So I would like to say that we got very close in training and whatnot, and we were, albeit the class was small, probably the top of our class, two of the top, and we every time we wrestled we quit. Or the first time, you could just feel it that it would be a very easy night with that person. So then over the course of these past 5 years, we've had probably, it's got to be close to 20 matches that involve both of us. And I love every match. I don't think we've had a bad match, but that just might be biased from my part. But I love that man, and I'm very glad that he is as successful as he is. And I'm glad that I can be a part of his journey as much as I am glad that he is a part of mine.
And do you have that feeling like you're always going to be a part of each other's? You're always going to be able to fall back and draw back on that you guys came up and did it together. You've had all this in-ring time together outside of matches, just in your training and in your development. So you're always going to have that connection.
I think so. I would like to say that I believe that no matter how far one of us goes, that there will always be that connection. I think the world of him, and I truly think that he can. I believe he'll be in the WWE one day, if that is his desire and that is his wish, which I believe it is, or anywhere where he can make enough money to support his and his own. I believe he will make it there, and I believe that, from my part at least, and I don't want to speak for him, but I would be. I have full confidence that he would feel the same when it comes to that connection staying alive and being that close and always being able to kind of go back to it being me and him.
Kind of feels like a Seth Roman type of deal when they were, friends in the Shield, but then split apart and became enemies, but still that connection there. If I'm kind of gauging the sense right, does that sound about right for you?
You could say, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Obvious. So the thing is I've only known him for 5 years. So in the span of life, or the idea of how long life usually is and whatnot, I've only known him for a handful of years. But I would say that he is easily one of the closest people to me. So you could say that you could maybe compare it to like Kevin and Sammy as well.
Okay,
in that sense.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
That's a way better comparison, and I can't believe I didn't go there myself. So perfect. Jaxon, do you have any rituals or superstitions as you're getting ready for a match?
I don't think so. I don't. There's nothing really that I do consistently before a match. It's kind of just in the moment, what I feel is like right to do before a match, or if it's a bigger match, I'll kind of try and psych myself out, not make it so I'm Jaxon Slater the person, but Jaxon Slater the performer.
I like that. Where are you at in your development? In your mind, where are you at right now, and how far away are you from where you want to be?
I would say that I am mentally, when it comes to wrestling, I am very I don't like to toot my own horn or anything. I like to be humble, but if I am 100% honest, I do
Sure.
think that mentally I am very good at what I do and how I do it. Physically, I know that there are, by my own, can't think of the word I'm looking for, but because of myself, because of some of the choices I make, I know that physically I'm not where I want to be or where other people may want me to be when it comes to their promotion and whatnot. But it is something that I want to get better at and strive to do so that way, physically and mentally, I can be where I want to be. And that is, with a big time promotion, making, how much money I can to, again, provide for my family or provide for me and, myself.
Speaking of, making it into the big time promotions, if let's say hypothetically you were handed a contract from all the big companies, AEW, TNA, WWE, where do you see yourself fitting the best? And are there any dream matches where you see yourself going that you would love to be involved in?
There are certainly dream matches. Growing up on WWE, that would be the place that I'd want to go. I believe I probably, if I'm honest, as of where I stand now, I probably don't fit their mold on what they want from somebody. I would be someone that is definitely different than their prototypical superstar. So I'd probably fit best with AEW or New Japan or TNA, which I have no problem against. But like I said, WWE is what I grew up on, and that's where I would want to be. And my dream match for the longest time, um, you know, I guess it's any dream match that I would come up with is probably unrealistic because a lot of the people that work there now are much older than when I was watching as a kid. But for now, my dream match would be Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
I've always been a fan of Brock Lesnar when it comes to in-ring stuff, and he's someone that I know could like mess me up. I'm a big guy that likes to bump, and I know he can bump me. So
you're saying you want to take a couple F5s?
I would not be opposed.
More power to you. I don't want to go anywhere near that.
Just don't let Brock know you're willing to take all those because you'll get zero offense in then.
Right.
Oh man, you don't hear a lot of people say that, but man, that's awesome. I mean, is he a great, will he be considered one of the all-time greats? I don't know, but his list of accomplishments, to me, he's still an attraction. Like whoever he wrestles, I want to see because he's going to throw the dude around, so he's definitely still a draw in my book. So yeah, I get that answer. That's totally cool.
We are here on Card Subject to Change, part of the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. I am the Wizard CZ. We are talking with Jaxon Slater, me and my co-host Never Wrong Nick Bull. Just want to take a quick moment to remind you we are powered by Lopez Pizza, built by Durham Remodeling, and of course colored by Ryan Allison Tattoo. Jaxon, talk about what you're watching now. What really trips your trigger as far as current product?
I'd like to believe I'm someone that is accepting of everything. I don't try to judge anything, so I just like wrestling. If I were to pick something, it is something that is, I like the realism of it. So a match like with Gunther or Sheamus, where you can tell that people are hitting each other, but it's safe, and it's stiff, but it's stiff in a good way. But I don't hate anything else. But that's probably what would tickle my fancy, is hard hitting, and you feel it, and you can tell the crowd feels it, and just kind of not slow to the point of boring, but slow to the point of letting people feel.
How do you feel about the big triple threat from a couple years ago at Mania? Gunther, Sheamus, and Drew.
Big meaty men slapping meat.
Mm-hmm.
I know that's one of Nick's favorites, one of mine. That was such a fantastic match.
Amazing. It's perfection. It's perfection. I love that style, and those guys went out there and kicked it. They killed it. But no, I love that. Interesting that you say Brock Lesnar and the physical style. Is that how you've always modeled your in-ring ability over time, or has it become that? Has it always been that way, or has it approached that?
Before I started wrestling, I think I enjoyed I don't want to call it this because it's usually used in a derogatory manner towards this style of wrestling. But I can't think of a better, I can't think of anything better. So with the flippy stuff, I very much enjoyed it before I got into wrestling. That was that was amazing, and it still is amazing. But now, after getting into wrestling and figuring out what kind of goes into it and whatnot, I very much enjoy the slow, for example, Roman Reigns. I've always been a Roman fan, but after getting into wrestling, everything he does has purpose. Same with Randy Orton. Everything he does, no wasted motion. It's all for the cameras or the people in the crowd or to set something else up. And that has become what I try to do as well, where you take that 5 seconds to let the camera, work around you rather than work around the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can see you stepping in the ring with a number of people that are coming to mind who are prominent here in Iowa or in the Midwest. Give us some names. Who are some of your favorite people to square up against? And Alvin Falcone, we already know, is on the list, but who else is prominent in your head as who you like to hop in and throw around?
I'm going to try and go with people that I have not worked yet, because I'm awful with names. So there will be people that I forget here that I'd love to work. Jameson McGregor, I've never had him in a one-on-one match, so I would love to work him in a one-on-one match. Brixton Nash, I've never worked him in a one-on-one match. I'd love to work Jackson King. Battle of the first name Jackson. Whoever wins gets that.
A best of 7.
Yes.
Yeah. And your name has to be one of the matches has to be your name on a ladder match.
Yep, name on a pole.
I love it. As long as we're not putting anybody on a forklift.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. But no, not to sidetrack. You said that.
Got a little laggy there.
What's that?
What it got a little laggy there. I didn't hear what you said.
I was just saying, as long as we're not putting anybody on a forklift.
Right.
And I apologize for jumping on you, but you said Jackson versus Jackson. I'm like, oh, that's a best of 7, and one of them's got to be a ladder match. So that's
good. Fine.
That'd be cool.
What is the 5-year plan for Jaxon Slater?
Well, in 5 years, that would mark 5 years of professional wrestling for me. That would mark 10 years of professional wrestling for me. So I'm hoping that within 10 years of my start, I can say that I've wrestled for a major promotion. At the very least, been an extra somewhere and consistently an extra. Obviously, in 5 years, I'd like to be contracted to somewhere. But not saying that's unrealistic. It's just I don't want to set a goal so high that in 5 years, if that doesn't happen, I'm disappointed with myself. But yes, at the end of the day, I want to be signed with AEW, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, wherever it may be, New Japan. I'd love to be signed to a big promotion.
And someone like you mentioned New Japan. I'm glad you did. I can see. So we're friends with the one called Manders. Big, beefy, brawny guy who throws a lariat around like nobody's business. Someone with your size and style, I can see the Japanese crowd really getting behind.
For sure. Size and style, they would definitely take. It would definitely work over there. And dude, and a lot of people aren't willing to go to Japan. They just don't want to go over to the other side of the world and work. And you hear nothing but great things from the Americans, or from the the American wrestlers I'm talking about here, that go over there and work and do tours and absolutely love it. So yeah, I mean, you don't hear a lot of people saying, yeah, I'd go there. So hey, that's kind of automatically puts you ahead in a lot of places. A lot of times it's where, when, and saying yes, right?
Exactly. It's not a scary thing. Like it would be. It's scary in the sense of it's different. So, anything, it wouldn't be what I'm used to. It'd be a scary experience to go over to Japan, but it's not something that I would say no to when it comes to, wrestling. So, I think that's probably more so where um, can't think of the word, but the hesitation comes from people is it's overseas and it's, almost the other side of the world and whatnot. It's different. And difference means you don't know what's going to happen. So,
We've got a good question in the comments, and I think I know. It looks like a multiple choice question. So, what veteran wrestler have you learned the most from? I've got names like Eugene, Pat Tanaka, Jason Strife, Mr. Anderson, Bob Evans, Silas Young, and Matt Cross.
so I think realistically we should probably disqualify Eugene because he is who trained me. So that
Yep.
would be the obvious answer. I've learned the most from him. I would say that outside of Eugene, the person I learned the most from was Jason Strife. He is the person I probably spent the most time of all these names with, or spent the most time around. And I unfortunately did not get to know Jason Strife as much as other people and whatnot. But anytime that I had a conversation with him on wrestling, it was always helpful. Anything that I talked to him about when it came to wrestling, it was never said in a ill way or in a way that made me feel like, oh, he's not telling me this because he wants to help. He's doing something else. Every time I talked to him, it was always him helping me out in any way, shape, or form. So I'd say I'd probably learn the most from Jason Strife outside of the person that trained me.
And unfortunately, we never got the chance to meet or talk with Jason Strife. But I personally, I can't speak for Nick, but I've heard a lot of great things about him as a person, him as a wrestler. So that's fantastic. Jaxon, we're going to wrap things up here pretty soon. A couple questions that I like to ask as we get towards the end of things, though. What is the best piece of advice that you have been given?
You asked me this question, like if I had time to prepare this question or thought of it myself, I'd have a litany of answers. But the fact that you've asked me this question, now I have nothing. The I think what comes to mind is when I started training, I was told if you think you're going slow or you think you're doing something too long, go slower. Because in your mind, you're going so much faster than what you think. So you think you're taking 10 seconds, but in reality, you've sat there for 3 or 4. So I would say that's probably the best piece of advice that I've received is when you think you're going slow, go slower.
Okay. If you could go back 5 years as you were just getting into things, and you could tell yourself one thing, what would it be?
Work harder. That'd probably be what I'd say. Work harder and put more effort in. And I'm not to discount what I've already done or the effort and work that I have put in, but I know that there are days where I am not putting 100% effort in, and I would tell myself that it's you want this to work, start doing it. Like put in that effort, put in that work, put it whatever it may take, whether it's dieting or working out or just going into the ring more or being better at social media because I'm awful at social media. Just all the little things that you can do them to the maximum. I'd probably also tell myself not to break my ankle, but that one,
Oh no!
can't control that one. Yeah.
I got sympathy. I got hardware in my ankle, plate and screws, so I know I got sympathy for anyone who breaks an ankle. That's not fun.
No.
Not fun.
No.
You listed off some things there. What's the one thing you need to improve the most upon? And that's going to make
I think the thing that I need to
make you better in ring, or make you a better all around wrestler.
Right. I would say that the easiest answer is dieting. I would say that I need to work on just dieting all around so that way I can go longer. And not that I can't go long in the ring, but just so I can go longer, look better. Because at the end of the day, in brutal honesty, wrestling is 80% about look. If you look the part, then you can be the part. And not saying I don't look a part, because you have people like Vader or Bronson Reed, or there's always been big people in wrestling.
Sure.
But I would say that in order to be where I'd want to be, I would have to look at Gunther, for example, someone that was always a bigger person, and when he needed to, he got to look right, and then he was not handed a lot of things because obviously he earned it, but a lot more opportunities opened up once he, for lack of a better term, took himself more seriously.
Right.
And that's good advice for anyone. I'm on a journey to make myself better, and I'm failing at it left and right, but trying my best not to.
Right.
Zach, if you're watching, I apologize. That's my co-host over on Wrestling with Fitness. You mentioned, being better at social media. Talk about where people can find you if they want to follow you on socials.
I believe all my socials, like I said, I'm awful with it, so I believe all my socials are the one Jaxon Slater. I believe if you just search up Jaxon Slater, I'd be the one to pop up. I believe there's a Tennessee Titans lineman also with the name Jaxon Slater, so he might pop up. But if you search up Wrestling Jaxon Slater, I think I'm the first person to pop up.
Okay. And I know I'm going to ask you where to find you in the coming weeks in the ring, but I'm going to talk about I know one, and I can't let you off the hook without giving you crap about this. What makes you want to step in the ring with Santa? You're going to make a lot of kids cry if you beat the living hell out of him. I'm just saying.
Well, the thing about Santa is when you think about it, he's not really a good person. He employs children to make him toys. He breaks into houses and just leaves you with a bunch of garbage that you have to clean up. He eats your food and he drinks your milk. There's just so much that Santa Claus does that I think he's got to kind of pay for at this point.
So Santa needs his comeuppance.
Exactly.
And that's next week in Algona, correct?
Yes, December 13th.
December 13th, Algona, Iowa, for Absolute Pro Wrestling. You can see the one Jaxon Slater going up against Santa. If you want to root for him because Santa's an evil menace, by all means. If you want to root for Santa, we encourage that also. We're an equal opportunity podcaster, but I don't think Jackson's going to encourage us. I don't think
it's obvious. Jaxon has all the he's got all the toys that he already wants, and he's gonna
right.
I mean, it's a smart move. Come on here.
And
just like Marty said, come through that window, CZ. Jaxon Slater's ahead of the game here.
Yeah,
exactly.
Hey,
and to think,
how do you not be on the naughty list? Eliminate who creates the naughty list. Then you're not
exactly.
on it. So, yeah, that's
Santa's always taking credit for other people. Like I can't stand it. I can't stand that guy. There's a bunch of hardworking parents out there that Santa takes the credit for. We got to stop that.
Well, I hope you put him in his place. We were talking off air. Nick and I have a prior obligation next Saturday on the 13th, so we will not be in Algona to see you go up against Santa, but I hope it goes well. That sounds like it'll be a fun matchup. Anywhere else this year that people can find you, or are things kind of winding down until 2026?
That would be my last match of the year. My next match after that is I'm awful with dates too. I got everything saved in my calendar, but I want to say January 10th at New Sound Pro Wrestling.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Jaxon, I want to thank you. It has been fun having you on the show, talking about your wrestling journey. We appreciate you coming on. Before we get off the air, Nick and I are going to just give a couple previews about things. With John Cena's impending last match, I'm excited. We've got WrestleBacks. We pushed it back a week, so it's coming up this Wednesday as we review John Cena versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam of 2016. Nick, I'm excited. I've watched this match a couple times. I'm going to watch it one more before Wednesday. What are your excitement about this upcoming WrestleBacks?
I'm excited because it's been a while since I've watched it. I have yet to go through my watches on it yet. I'll probably watch it 3 times. But I bet it's been 5 years since I've probably seen this match, since seeing it initially. But Immediately, probably, circle back if you want to talk about one of the best, if not the best, AJ Styles match in his WWE, career. One of Cena's many, but these two guys, they tore it down recently, but they got to, they tore it down here as well. So this is SummerSlam 2016. I'm looking forward to it because there's a lot I don't remember about this match because it's been a while since I've seen it.
One of the things that excites me most is my favorite commentator, Mauro Ranallo. I wish he were still with WWE. He does a fantastic job, or did, in my opinion. So I'm excited to listen to him commentate the match. And then next week, we have our second to last show of the year. We are doing our annual Ugly Sweater Party. And Nick, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this without giving too much away, because I may be the booker man on the show, but I let Nick pick the match, or pick the show that we're reviewing this year for our Ugly Sweater Party.
Yeah, this one is widely considered, if you want to go and Google worst wrestling shows of all time, late 90s, I think 99, Heroes of Wrestling. Google it to find it. It's on YouTube, which makes it great for everybody who wants to tune in and follow along. But don't read about it until after you watch it. A lot of stuff went wrong with this show. And I just kind of, I want the fan who's never seen it to go through and watch it unfold as it unfolds live. Then go back and read about what happened going into it, and then watch it again, and you have a whole new respect for it. But yeah, it's something to behold, and it's bad. It's bad. Is it December to dismember bad? There's a lot more stuff to laugh at on this one, so I don't think it's as bad as that. But this
I was just going to ask where it ranked on the December to dismember scale.
You'll find out. You'll be the one to answer that question here when you tune into it. But yes, it is on YouTube, so it is easy to find. You don't have to go pay a fee for it. It is on there, so check it out. Full show and everything. The full production. It's something to behold.
Absolutely. I'm excited to watch it. I'm sure it's going to be a train wreck. That is next Sunday at 6:30 here on our normal time on Card Subject to Change. Be sure to tune in Wednesday for WrestleBacks at 7 p.m. live on Facebook and YouTube. For my co-host, Never Wrong Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. Thanks once again to Jaxon Slater for being on the show. I loved having you here. We will see you next week on Card Subject to Change.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.